All right, what's going on? It's your man Brandon Carter. I am here with Alan Aragon. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your last name. It's Alan Aragon, right? We just went over
Aragon.
this.
Aragon.
What nationality is that?
Filipino for the most part, but Filipinos, as you know, we're mixed in with pretty much all 50 shades. So
Yeah, nice little mashup.
yes.
I want to get into that because I have some ideas about that and things because I'm pretty mixed up myself. But Alan is a nutrition researcher, right? And he has a lot of accolades. He's one of the most well-informed and knowledgeable people in the industry. You know, can you tell people more about yourself and your background for them who may not be aware?
Sure. Been in the fitness industry for more than 20 years, but I've only been kind of in the I guess under the spotlight of the online world within the last 5 to 7-ish years or so, and I never really kind of started picking up momentum as far as notoriety and stuff goes, maybe until the last 2 or 3 years, but that's mainly because I've gotten more heavily into publishing research, first doing research reviews and then doing actual original primary research with my team, which includes Brad Schoenfeld and James Krieger and a few other guys doing great things in the industry. And so that's kind of it. I mean, my career spanned from personal training to nutritional counseling, and now I'm most deeply involved in research. So that's kind of where I'm at.
What research are you most known for?
I'd say I'm most known for research on sports nutrition issues as they relate to fitness and body composition. Things like nutrient timing, how it might impact body composition, things like meal frequency, how that impacts body composition, and just general, I guess, well, I don't like to say debunking necessarily, it's kind of a strong word, but critically analyzing a lot of the claims that float around the fitness world, the fitness sphere, if you will. So.
Yeah. So how do I get a six-pack? No, I mean, that's a question I get all the time.
Well, you picked the right parents for one.
How much does genetics play? What kind of role does genetics play?
I personally think it plays a tremendous role.
Okay.
You know, it's a tough thing to test and it's a tough thing to study because there are so many variables involved with that allow your genetic predisposition to materialize or not. Just your environment, your lifestyle habits, and all of that. But all the way down to kind of the micro level, I mean, genetics will have an influence on it.
Let me ask you a question. Having that said, what role does nationality or ethnicity play? Are certain races predisposed to being stronger? If you read my YouTube comments, apparently I don't work out at all, and it's only because I'm African American. That's the only reason, according to YouTube comments.
Oh, dude, this topic has been looked at in research, but not to the level that we can draw any definitive conclusions. I think that just from an anecdotal perspective, people with BBC genetics are definitely they definitely have an edge in terms of building muscle and staying lean. But there's always exceptions all over the place. So I would rather kind of just look at people on an individual case basis. I mean, people tend to know whether they've had historically an easy time putting on muscle or an easy time losing fat or some combination of both of those things. And as a group, I would say that folks with the right genetics will definitely be African American descent, and as far as the whole building muscle and losing fat thing, but I don't know. That's just my observations. I'm not going to say that there's a whole hell of a lot of data backing that up solidly, but that's just a field observation.
Yeah. I mean, see, a lot of people think that we're just X-Men. That's the person I get. They think But
well, there's, I tell you what, I mean, you still have to work hard. You still have to work hard to look exceptional. I mean, it's one thing to just, look good or look decent or better than average, but anybody who looks just exceptional, like yourself, obviously, that's a whole hell of a lot of hard work and a lot of time put in. So I think it's probably got to be frustrating for you to hear people accuse you of not putting in the work to get the result.
Oh no, it's fine. If it like I have white friends who are in better shape than me, and people they will accuse them of all types of other stuff too. So like if it wasn't that, it'd be something else. So I get it. It's part of it.
Now that you hit me with a tough question right off the bat.
Right. That's what man. You didn't live to the Lions Den. You wasn't used to the tough questions.
Dude, okay, I'm on my toes now.
I do have another one. Like, okay, so like you said, the people, the Filipino people are I have a scientific term or not, but like a mashup. I've read some places, particularly in this one book called Mean Genes, where the scientists or the doctors, they were saying they were evolutionary scientists who wrote that book, and they were saying that the more diverse the gene pool, the stronger, potentially the stronger the offspring. So like the more diverse, like so if a white person mixes with a black person, or a Chinese person with Indian person, maybe that diversity calls for something positive, but offspring. Am I right or wrong?
This is definitely beyond the scope of my expertise, but I can tell you observationally, the mixed bodybuilders, like for example, Kevin Levrone, you see just some of the freakiest results possible. And so I think that there definitely is something to that, of potentially kind of getting the best of multiple worlds, so to speak. So I've seen definitely advantages to mixed race in terms of the capabilities to develop physique. So.
Right, and so from that, do you hear the echo?
I'm not hearing an echo. So.
All right, cool. What I'm thinking that like if any African Americans do have an advantage, perhaps it's because we're all so mixed up, not necessarily just because we're black, but because tradition. I mean that's just this is just a hypothesis. I have absolutely no data to back that up, and it's not from. Some people say it was from slavery, right? But if that were true, then Jewish people would be superheroes as well, right? I don't know. Like, am I going too deep on this? Am I?
It's an area that, I mean, it's an interesting area, but it's something that I could just only speculate on, And I do think that there's a lot of potential for people to sort of use it as a crutch. You know what I mean? People who feel that they don't have the genetic gifts to say, oh, well, I'll just stay 20% body fat my whole life because and be weigh like $130 at 20% body fat as a grown man because my genetics suck or something like that. And it also, what I don't like to see as well is people using that as a crutch and also using it as an excuse to accuse other folks with great physiques of not being natural and that sort of thing. And so yeah, it's to me, it's something that keep it in the back of your mind, but definitely it shouldn't be the focus, and it shouldn't be used as a crutch or as some sort of weapon to accuse somebody of shenanigans.
Right. What I will know is my mom's side of the family is like very mixed up. Like my grandma is half white. Her mom was a slave, right? So like she's and she just turned 95. She has all like she's walks around. She drinks Pepsi every day, like my whole life. And so I feel like in everyone, like all her kids smoke, and they're like none of them have cancer, and they're like old. And it's like not to say that I don't want to say we're all invincible. Whatever it seems like. I don't know.
I see the same stuff going on in my family line. A lot of longevity, despite bad lifestyle habits, and sometimes people are just kind of blessed with those sort of bulletproof genes. Oh boy, I hate using that word now.
Bulletproof. Oh, that could be that'd be a good book or website.
Bulletproof genes, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. You can just see the cover of the book. Just some real tight pants or something.
There's a market for that. Wow. I got evidence. There's a market for that.
Yeah, just dip the jeans in butter and you're good. So.
Okay. Butter. Nah. What's like over your last few years of research? Is something that's really like fascinating to you? Like something that's like, oh man, I did not expect that to happen, and I did not expect to see those results. Has anything like that happened, like in your career?
That is such a good question.
Thank you.
I tell you what, man. I kind of wanted to see an extra or some sort of special benefit to timing protein close to the training bout, as far as muscular adaptations go, or just improvements in body composition. But when my colleagues and I did our meta-analysis, so we looked at a bunch of studies and we quantified the results in a systematic way. Our meta-analysis didn't find any particular advantage to timing protein intake within the so-called anabolic window. So we define the anabolic window. Yeah, we define the anabolic window as an hour, either pre or post-exercise, and we compared that with conditions where the protein was timed outside of 2 hours minimum on either side of the training bout. And as long as total protein for the day was good, then we didn't see any significant advantage of protein timing. So I was kind of surprised about that. I thought that we'd perhaps see something and it could possibly justify the slamming of the protein shake, after the last set. But apparently we've got a lot more leeway, and you don't necessarily have to hurry up that post-exercise protein shake as much as we thought. So I was kind of surprised about that.
It's heresy.
Yeah.
Can you still hear me okay? Because I took my headphones off just to make sure everything's still good.
I can hear you good.
No echo or anything?
No echo or anything. Can you hear me?
Cool. All right. Back on say that's heresy.
Yeah, it is, dude. It is. But I tell you what, the populations studied that we found these results in are not necessarily elite level bodybuilders or elite level physique competitors type of thing. So I think that the practical recommendation to get the protein in as soon as possible after the training bout is still valid. I mean, it can't hurt, might help, but if you let an hour go by and you didn't slam something, then it's not like your gains disappeared. So yeah, that was an interesting finding. And another finding that
it's fascinating, man. Honestly, that's fascinating. I don't want to gloss over that. That's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are not necessarily aware of this research because when you grow up in the the fitness game, you're always sent the message that you better have that shake ASAP after the training bout, otherwise you kind of wasted your time in the gym. When the fact of the matter is people don't look at things in terms of the peri-workout period, which is time between the pre-exercise meal and the post-exercise meal. So instead of just looking at the post-workout period, people should think in terms of keeping that peri-workout period not too long, or just keeping it narrow enough so that if you train within that period, you're still going to have the right nutrients elevated in the blood.
Just like taking BCAAs or something during the workout, is that beneficial?
It can be beneficial, but then again, if you think of the what happens when you ingest a meal, let's say a protein-rich meal with something like 20 plus grams of protein, you're still going to have elevated levels of blood amino acids, even, an hour plus after you ingest the meal. So it's not like you consume something pre-workout and then it just sort of, disappears. I mean, it's going to be lingering. There's time course for nutrients to circulate in the system. And sure, if you're somebody who gets up in the morning and doesn't eat a meal and just goes straight to train, then you might benefit from some kind of intra-workout amino acid intake. If your goal is to mitigate losses in muscle protein because you train long and hard, and I mean that there's a possible application there. But for somebody who does have a substantial protein-rich pre-workout meal, that in essence is going to function as an intra-workout because it's already seeping into circulation while you're training. There's only a certain rate that your body can absorb nutrients, and this is pretty tightly regulated.
So BCAAs are most beneficial for someone training fasted. Is that what I can gather from what you just said?
I would say, if somebody trains fasted, or if they just don't have time to eat a meal and digest it before they go train, let's say they got an early morning thing going on, then yeah, you can build a case for taking down some BCAAs. I personally would go the full range of essential amino acids and not just limit it to BCAAs. Even though BCAAs probably have the strongest effect, if you really want to kind of maximize things, you want the full complement of essential amino acids. So yeah, but then again, you can do that and more if you just ingest some whey protein, but then you're not really, training fasted. So.
Right. Okay. So
picky, man. These things are so small in terms of the magnitude of effect relative to other factors in the training program. I mean, these things are almost just, pure speculation. Almost.
It's like nitpicky type stuff. Like. So what's something like? Okay, so small things. What are some of the few big things like everybody who are interested in burning muscle, burning fat, and building muscle, or supplements they should be taking?
Yeah, definitely. The major thing with building muscle is going to be the synergy of the training and nutrition. So I mean the training's got to be progressive. Nutrition has to be at a surplus of total calories and a sufficiency of nutrients, especially protein, and that's all got to be working. I mean that's the big thing. You got to take in enough protein and calories, and you got to be training to cause the adaptations for hypertrophy.
Let me ask you. I recommend someone trying to build muscle. I recommend it. Take your body weight times 20. And that's a good starting range, and you can optimize from there. But I feel like that's a good starting range for most people for gaining muscle. Am I right or wrong?
No, well, that's definitely going to put most people at a surplus.
Yeah.
That recommendation, I can see that working for people who have a high activity level.
Okay.
So for people who train very rigorously, very intensely for most of the days of the week, and they've got a high volume of work that they're putting in, I can see that definitely working for that. I typically recommend that people try to run a caloric surplus that's somewhere between 400 to 800-ish calories above what they feel maintains them.
Mm-hmm.
So
that way you mitigate fat. Fat accumulation, right?
Right. I see a lot of folks, just trying to do the kind of the bulking strategy where you try to gain like 3 pounds a week. but yeah, I typically don't like to see trainees, especially if you're not a newbie, I don't like to see people putting on more than a couple pounds a month.
Yeah.
Trying to gain.
I gained like 15 pounds over 2 years. That's less than 1 pound a month, but I was able to stay lean and do that. And I didn't try to rush it. So I think we're on the same page as far as that's concerned. Unless they're new, like if you're new, then things are a little different.
Yeah, dude, if you're still, especially if you're not even skeletally mature, if you're in your mid-teens or whatever, people don't reach their peak bone mass a lot of times, even in their early 30s. So,
you say.
Pardon? Wait, I missed that.
I was like, oh, you don't say, huh? I feel like I got stronger like around 30, man. I started getting way stronger, and just like everything kind of changed, like in a good way. Like I'm hitting like, I don't know, it's different in a good way.
It's interesting because until your underlying architecture is mature, you can't necessarily stack muscle on it at an optimal rate. Or you can't, you can't, not at an optimal rate, you can't reach your potential for muscle gains. Really, I would hypothesize until your skeletal structure is mature to be able to handle that kind of pushing and pulling and leveraging and all that stuff. So I think there are a lot of young guys out there in their mid to late teens who are just all, trying to think that they can fulfill their potential by the time they, graduate high school or just start college or something like that. And, you see a lot of the competitors in the physique sports, bodybuilding, etc. Guys in their 30s, you look at the guys who are in their 30s versus the guys in their early 20s or even their teens. The early 30s dudes, they're stacking on a whole lot more muscle just because they have the sort of the underlying architecture to do it. And young dudes, they don't necessarily realize that they're in their whole adult career, they're probably going to put on 40 or 50 pounds of muscle, And when you break that down over a 5-10 year period, it's just, it's a whole lot less than what people are willing to accept, So yeah, I'm totally on board with the idea that muscle gains are a slow, excruciating process that take a lot of patience. So.
Yeah, like you got those first 2 years, you're gonna make a lot of, and then it's just gonna be like a grind, a slow grind for every year after that.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Unless you hop on, a little bit of enhancement or things of that nature. But yeah, for naturals, it's it's like definitely like watching grass grow or watching paint dry or something.
Yeah, you gotta fall in love with the process. That's another good reason to stay ripped, like to do it slow, because at least if you're ripped, you got that going, right? Why are you going?
Well, I tell you what, man. Some dudes, it benefits them a lot to stay in great shape year round, and whereas other guys who compete in, let's say, bodybuilding, then they're going to kind of look like shit for certain. They're not going to look awesome all year round, and a lot of dudes really do need to kind of.
Yeah, I don't have an off season in life, so I can't. I go through things. I'm not photo shoot right? But it's never. I'm never get more than 4 weeks away from that. Then I feel like I'm going to the bar. Can I say,
man? I think that's healthier. I think that's healthier from just a longevity and general health standpoint. I think people need to make a distinction between sports, or just sports competition as a concept versus health. I think they're two different things. So I think you probably fell into a niche that benefits long-term health more so than other competitors in other sports.
You know what I like about this so far? And that and legitimizing me as an expert in the field. So I feel like you.
Yeah. Hey.
I got to ask you another question. I get this all the time. And okay, so when I Greg Click, something similar to this as well, but I got to build I'm always kind of and like 2 weeks.
Brandon, the sound's cutting out crazy, dude. I missed that whole last sentence. It's real. The sound is real choppy and.
Jeez. All right. Let me.
Maybe your mic needs to be closer or something like that.
Is it better now?
It is better now.
All right, cool. I got my
headphones. Start from when you mentioned Bill Phillips.
Okay, I got this from him when I would bolt for like 3 weeks and then cut for like 2 weeks, and like just kind of like he called it anabolic burst cycling. He's really just bulk cutting. I call it micro cuts and micro bolts. People always tell me that people in my metabolism and or they're afraid something like that happen. Is that a legitimate concern?
No.
All right. Next question. Can we?
No, I mean, you have to, in order to ruin your metabolism, or in quotes, you really have to do some drastic stuff for a really long time, and then maintain just certain bad conditions. So no, I don't think that's going to ruin anything.
Where does that come from? Why were people always asking me that? Is that like have you heard anything like that before? I get this like every day.
Well, there's a lot of misconceptions about what the body can withstand and what it can't. I mean, our bodies are just so incredibly resilient. I mean, you take natural bodybuilders who diet for 6 months towards a show, and they diet down to just stupid levels, and their testosterone levels are totally tanked. Their hormone levels are completely out of whack. But they recover within half a year. After that crazy stint of dieting, they just, they return back to normal. I mean, there have been a couple guys who had some lasting negative effects in terms of testosterone drops as a result of contest dieting, but I think they're more the exception than the rule.
And I don't think I'm when I talk about how I cut, I'm not talking about getting the contest levels or competing. Yeah. I'm really just a guy. I don't compete in like that, like the pageants. I'm sorry, like the bodybuilding, like competitions or physique competitions. So I wasn't talking about those levels, like 1% to 2% body fat either.
Yeah.
So that's extreme. Is it healthy to get that low at all? Like, is that
no? Well, the thing about that is, even though you can bounce back from it, it's definitely not a healthy thing. I mean, you are not in a state of anywhere remotely optimal health when you're when your contest cut. And this is going to vary with the individual. I mean, some guys are perma, they're like perma 8 weeks out. That's just how they walk around, but for most people, the vast majority of the population come down to, they towards the mid single digits. Men, I'm talking about, in body fat. It is an all-out assault on your body, physiologically, psychologically, on the whole thing. So it is not a healthy process, although you can bounce back from it. I don't know very many people who wreck themselves permanently by doing a competition or two, but I do know folks who have competed too much, and it's messed with their heads and possibly messed with their bodies. So. Oh
wow! And a lot of that stuff, like some of those, whatever. Like, okay, so I got this thing. I don't know if it's accurate or not. You heard of it? This measures body fat. What sound waves or something? Okay. It said, okay, allegedly I'm 9% body fat, 9 and some change. I like it there according to that contraption. Let's just say that's accurate.
Okay.
It is that I feel good there. Is that like a good place to be? I feel good there, but I'm not contest ready. But I feel like I could be like this all year, happy and healthy. Is 9 a good place?
You're definitely at a good spot. You're definitely at a good spot because as far as the range for body fat percent and health goes for men, there's different papers you can read, but on the low end, it's if I'm recalling correctly, it's like high 10s all the way up to, I believe it's 20% or high teens. That's considered the healthy norm. So even though you're registering, let's say 9 on that,
yeah,
and even though you're below the published healthy norm, I think obviously there's other lifestyle factors that come into play that you have to consider. I mean, if your energy levels are good, your libido is normal, your mood is good, and you perform well in the gym and in just in life, then there's no arguing that your current body composition is healthy. I think that you can just look at somebody and be able to kind of tell whether they're too lean or not. They're too lean to be healthy. And that is kind of a bold statement, because there are guys who look like Skeletor all the time, but they're healthy, But yeah, I mean, from my judgment, my semi-qualified opinion, I don't think you have anything to worry about as far as your body comp goes.
Nice, man. This interview is going great. Let me ask you.
Yeah. it's the how awesome is Brandon interview.
Okay. Damn, I had a good question, man. You know what I hate when that happens? This is unprofessional. Let me ask you. Okay, but how important is sleep, right? Because I kind of always tell people, I think 8 to 9 hours is obviously it's based on the individual, right? Circumstantial. But I always feel like 8 to 9 hours seems to be optimal for most people who I've trained throughout the years. That's what people have the most success. But then they always want to throw out that Arnold only slept 6, right? Or this such and such only sleeps 4. What has been your observations as a researcher?
First of all, effects of sleep on various measures of health. It's a difficult thing to study, because you're looking at, it's hard to do studies that are long term enough in order to try to measure these changes and these effects that lack of sleep would have, or that a surplus of sleep would have. So what I'm trying to say is that area of study is really kind of muddy, and it's all over the place. But one thing I've seen consistently is that there seems to be a cutoff of a minimal amount of sleep that you can have that won't adversely affect health. Seems to be right around 6 to 7 hours of sleep. If you get less than 6 to 7, then you start seeing correlations with a whole range of adverse health effects. So, if you wanted to be on the safe side, then you'd recommend that people at least get about 7.
Okay.
Yeah, getting below 6 for most people, it's pretty safe to say you're not getting enough sleep.
If your training is demanding, would you require an hour or 2 more, potentially?
That's a toughie, man. That's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
I think that professional athletes in the performance realm, not necessarily bodybuilding, but performance athletes in team sports, etc. In my experience, they're getting at least 8. They're getting. They may even get 8 plus an hour nap. So
a lot of NBA players take naps. Football, American football players take naps. I know them, like they take naps before games.
Yeah, as a group, as a population, there's not a whole lot of guys at the elite levels in performance sports where there's a lot at stake. There's not a lot of guys in there getting less than 7 hours of sleep.
Right. LeBron sleeps 10 hours of sleep, I heard, and so does Roger Federer and a host of others. I mean,
I can totally see that. Sometimes with certain training cycles and different seasons, I mean, people training 2-3 times a day, you're going to need that, that shutout. You're going to need that recovery. So,
in your research, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No,
I'm done. Go.
No. In your research, have you ever seen any? What supplements are just garbage, like just a waste of time, money, and resources?
Yeah. Okay. The thing that immediately just jumped out at me, and it's not a supplement. It's this product that has about the equivalent of less than half a teaspoon of oil in a bottle of water, like just
Okay.
sort of diffused into there, and they're selling it as some special sports drink. I believe the product is called Fat Water, and
way.
I think that's the absolute most useless product I ever heard of.
What is the benefits of drinking fat water?
It just, I don't know, makes you stupider.
It's a tax on stupidity. That's what that is.
It is. It's a tax on. It's, it's a way to stimulate the American economy, I guess. So maybe that's a good thing about it. But yeah, no, there's this stuff called Fat Water that, oh my gosh, just the thought that even a single bottle of that is going to get sold, it just baffles me. It makes me think, wow, this world is just a really interesting place.
And it's probably not like one guy's crazy dream, right? It's not like, hey man, it's probably like a team of people who got together, like, hey man, got this great idea.
Yeah,
I stole a bunch of money behind that.
Yep, it probably had a focus group and a whole think tank behind that, and because right now, fat is being pushed as some sort of special thing, some sort of magical thing that you need to eat a lot of fat now. But none of that's true. You don't get any special effects from dumping fat all over everything you eat, and including fat in the water you drink and all that stuff. That it's just gone completely nuts. But the general public, they'll buy into it, if it's sold right, So
what about that? What about those, like, what jumps out to me is like I seen Montel Williams. He had these sleeves with copper in them. Is that like something? And they're supposed to help with performance and like help with like joints. Is this wearing copper in your clothes, in your apparel, have some sort of benefit at performance?
I haven't looked at it. Okay, I'm gonna say I doubt it. I highly doubt it, but I have not looked into that research. But it doesn't seem to me that there would be any biologically plausible mechanism there to, for copper to have some kind of special effect like that. But no, I can't tell you that I've looked into the research in that area, man. So
listen, I don't know. Montel Williams said he also had, when Obama won the election, he came out. He was selling these quarters, commemorative coins with Obama, but then they were regular quarters with a Obama sticker on them. Like I saw like on like a Dateline or something. He saw regular quarters with those Obama stickers on them.
Oh my God!
You gotta. Things depend. It depends on the messenger sometimes. Sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah. That really happened. You guys can Google. Some people can Google that if you like.
Oh my goodness, dude. Yeah.
Are there any supplements that are like, just outstanding? Every athlete, if you're not taking this, it's irresponsible.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a lot shorter list than the supplements that are useless. I mean, with the useless supplements, like I said, you got these products that put a little bit of oil in the water and they say it's going to change your life, and it won't.
Right.
And then you've got most fat burner supplements are really, really useless to dangerous. And some of them are just plain useless and inert, like for example, I would put CLA in that category of just, kind of waste of money.
Okay.
I'd put Garcinia Cambogia in that category of iffy, just save your money. Just the best fat loss supplement really is a caloric deficit.
Yeah, nothing's beating that. That's it. Does green tea extract have any sort of benefit in that regard?
You know what? That is one of the few that has a little something to it in terms of the effects. In terms of the research, they consistently see that it does have an effect on thermogenesis, but that effect usually is really small.
And it's negligible unless if you're not in a caloric deficit, you can drink all the green tea extracts. The world's not gonna make a difference.
Yeah, exactly. Other supplements that are useless are testosterone booster supplements, like D-aspartic acid, Tribulus terrestris, and
so Tribulus is useless.
It's useless, man.
Useless. Damn.
If it ever worked, it was because of you know, a placebo, or some, you know, you sort of convince yourself that it would. So
what about ZMA?
ZMA, that is another thing it failed repeatedly in objective research trials that tested whether it raised testosterone levels or whether it improved, I forget whether it's body composition or performance parameters, but it failed in both. Damn. So repeatedly. So, but the thing with ZMA is that it may benefit people who are deficient dietary wise as far as zinc goes, and
if you have a deficiency, it may be beneficial.
Yeah, it might benefit, but then you're better off just taking a multi that contains zinc, or just taking magnesium on its own. You know, well, I want to put in a plug actually for I don't know if there's a conflict of interest with you know, whatever supplement companies are endorsing you.
No, man, go for it, man, go for it.
But there's this particular supplement. It's called Athlete Vitamin, and it's by a new company, relatively new company called Citadel Nutrition.
Oh yeah, I've heard of them. They make tier 1.
They make tier 1, yes, and they have a supplement called Athlete Vitamin, and it's got vitamin D, vitamin K, magnesium. Gosh, what else did it have in it? I'm forgetting. Possibly. Hold on. I gotta look this up so I don't do them dirty.
Hey man, you work for Citadel, man. You a spy for Citadel Nutrition.
Oh, dude. Okay, wait. Well. Okay, I found it. Yeah, it's got vitamin D, vitamin K. Yeah, calcium is the one I was missing. Magnesium and zinc, and these are the most common shortfalls in diets in general, especially of the athletic population. And these particular nutrients are also common shortfalls in most multivitamins. So, you know, if you're going to go for optimizing micronutrition and filling in the gaps, that's a really good product, especially for folks who are dieting. Because you know, when you're dieting, you compromise the diet in terms of adequate levels of essential micronutrients. So that's another good product there. Other supplements that have a really good evidence base for athletes, no-brainer would be creatine for strength and power-oriented types of sports. It's kind of iffy for endurance sports, creatine is, unless they involve intermittent bouts of higher intensity type of work.
Okay. It has cognitive benefits as well, right?
Yeah, it's got all kinds of benefits, you know. It's got all kinds, and
all kinds.
You know, somehow, some way, the Hodgkins were going to make it into this podcast, so it might as well be now.
They run the internet, basically.
Yeah, they do.
So I'm sorry.
So yeah, creatine's got a very strong evidence basis. Beta-alanine has a strong evidence basis. And interesting, creatine and beta-alanine kind of complement each other. So whereas creatine covers a little bit more towards the strength power end of the continuum, beta-alanine dips a little bit more towards the strength endurance type of end.
And it makes you a little itchy, but that's how you know it's working.
That's how you know it's working. You get that histamine reaction from beta-alanine, but by far creatine has the strongest research evidence basis of all the ergogenic supplements, and beta-alanine, it's got a solid evidence basis, but it's not nearly as extensive as the effectiveness of creatine. So,
what about
citrulline malate? It's shown pretty consistently positive results. It sort of covers that same part of the strength endurance continuum that beta-alanine might, where it helps you kind of extend the volume of your work. So that is, it's worth a try. It's one of those things though where there's only so much you want to be able to put on the list of things that you take and put your faith that they're actually working.
I got you.
So
caffeine. You gotta keep the ingredient list small, right? Like you don't want to be taking, right?
That's my philosophy. My philosophy is the least amount of extracurricular compounds to get the job done.
Minimum effective dosage.
Minimum.
That's what you guys use, right? It's a term. It's a science term.
That's right. But then again, there are people on the elite competitive level where they may have a totally different philosophy. They want to, maximize every possible, every possibility. So they don't want to leave any stones unturned. So they may choose to be on creatine, beta alanine, citrulline malate, etc. on down the line. And it's almost like psychologically, it sort of helps them know that, okay, I'm doing everything I possibly can to clinch that last fraction of a percent that's going to move me up a placing,
Yeah, so, second, like a lot of professional sports is like the win or lose is a second, championship and not, is being top of the podium little is seconds, or fractions of seconds. It might not be but things may not be that imperative if you're just a guy, right?
Right. Unless you're at the elite competitive level, it almost becomes a question of just, cost benefit ratio.
Right. It's negative.
It's an extra thing it's an extra expense financially. It's an extra compound that you're forcing your body to have to deal with. So, yeah, long-term safety of most of these compounds available isn't necessarily known. And it's always an issue, to consider.
Yeah, is caffeine beneficial in any capacity?
Oh yeah. Caffeine was the third supplement I was going to mention, other than creatine and beta alanine, that have a strong research evidence base, and caffeine is one of them. It works. It works throughout the whole spectrum. From the strength stuff all the way to the endurance stuff. So.
And is there a fat loss benefit of caffeine or not, or is that just gives you energy to maybe do some more cardio? Or I know it helps me with appetite control, but aside from that, does the substance itself help with fat loss?
I think it might initially. But I think that the long-time caffeine users, it's not going to necessarily have that kind of effect. So caffeine as a fat loss supplement, the effects itself are pretty small. And like you mentioned, what really is doing the effect is, look, now I've got the cops going on outside.
Oh yeah, New York. I'm sorry. In New York, it's just basically. Listen, man, all I hear is sirens and reggaeton music out my window pretty much 24 hours a day.
You're hearing that reggaeton.
Yeah.
That's how you know that the party started right there.
The party started, and then shortly after, I know that I'll be hearing that siren.
And it just carried off in stretchers and stuff.
Yeah.
From jumping from the balcony just to, that whole dance craze.
Yeah, man, too much. Listen, they're here we go again. Too many supplements.
They're taking too many supplements at the club. So.
Yeah, too many supplements. Is there? Okay, all right. This is crazy. But I remember. I don't know if okay. There's a football player who played for. Unfortunately, I'm a huge Chicago Bears fan, and one of the players, Brandon Marshall, was saying that a lot of NFL players are taking Viagra for the extra pump when they're in the gym, and they're just saying they get some sort of benefit from it. Is that ridiculous or not? Or should we all be?
Wow, bro, that is just wow. Oh wow. Okay, yeah, dude. I honestly,
it's not a bad substance, so they feel like they're getting some sort of edge, or right? Because some stuff, a lot of stuff they can't take,
I think as long as you're not spotting your bro, the bench press, I mean, there might be something to that. I don't know.
Vasodilator, right?
Yeah, dude, that's just crazy. I mean, the side effects of Viagra are blindness and blue vision and and who knows what else, you know. By the grace of God, I haven't had to actually look into this kind of therapeutic drug.
Oh, like firsthand.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm good, you know. So
that was another plug, ladies. That was another plug. First he plugging Citadel, now he's plugging himself.
Oh, dude, yeah. This hangout.
Hey, advertise. Hey, you got to advertise. You got to throw it out there.
This hangout went there. You know?
Hey, man. Hey, I've used it recreationally, right? It was the times I was like, all right, listen, I was like, this is girl. All right, I know it's a little off topic, right? But I was like nervous, man. She was like a 10. And I was just like, man. And last time I was with like a 10, but it was like years before that. I was too nervous, and it's like I had performance issues because like I was put too much, you know, like I just put too much on it. So I was like, all right, this time I'll make sure this doesn't happen. And it really turned me into some sort of like sexual superhero, man. Like, because if you're a regular guy who doesn't need help, it has an effect whether you need it or not. And it almost worked too well without going into much detail.
I've talked to people who tried it and said that, man, you can be thinking about church and you'll still have a raging boner, you know. And I knew this dude who took it specifically to go bone chicks for an hour at a time while getting a Thai massage, you know.
What? Oh, if you're paying, because you pay for the hour, you want the whole hour.
Yeah, he literally, bro, he would take a dose and then he would hit the Thai massage and he would bone the chick for an hour straight, and she'd be like, wow, what are you on, you know? So it's crazy. Yeah, but yeah, he's paying for the hour, right? So he wants to bone the whole time. It's crazy.
That's almost just that's just being fiscally responsible, though, right? You don't want to.
This Google Hangout just might be a career ender for both of us.
And then he gets his cardio, right? Because we talk about being caloric deficit. He gets cardio. She's like a treadmill, or like.
Well, you know what, man? I know a lot of dudes who get, you know, who do the Viagra thing on the night that they go clubbing because the alcohol threatens the boner. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
They don't want to end up with whiskey dick, and you know, I mean, everyone's experienced that the effect that going, you know, way overboard on the alcohol, it just kills everything, you know. So I guess maybe, you know, Viagra may mitigate that effect.
No, it will totally circumvent that.
Right, and yeah, I live in Southern California, and there's a lot of dudes in the porn industry that basically that's just part of their supplement regimen.
Oh. Viagra, citrulline, and I'm ready to go.
But man, you know, but man,
I don't know about man.
But it's one of those things. It's like cost benefit. You know, the side effects kind of scary. You know, what it may do, what prolonged use might do to eye health. You know, so
yeah, and it's not something you want to. Well, first of all, it turns you into a sexual superhero. So you don't want to. That's not a standard you want to have to live up to. You're setting yourself up.
Sure.
Yeah, and if anything, it's easier to go up than to go, like, you know.
Yeah, that's another important consideration, dude. You know?
What happened last night? All right, we went off the rails, Alan.
That was epic.
Okay, no, but that leads me to my next question. Are there any supplements that may help with vitamin with testosterone? Because I'm looking to get into the. I own a supplement company, right? So we're looking at stuff to develop stuff that may help or may not. Is there anything, or is it just all a racket? And I want you to be honest with me, 100%.
Yeah. Nothing that we know of. Nothing that we know of. Because, you know, if you don't have any micronutrient deficiencies or any glaring micronutrient deficiencies in the diet. Like, I mean, zinc is one of the things that's pointed to as far as the relationship to testosterone and stuff on. If you've got a decent diet going on, anything extra on top of that, on top of your requirements, your basic requirements covered, is not going to push testosterone up to anywhere near the levels required to impact body composition or to impact libido necessarily, so I don't know. I'm not sold on any supplement out there that claims to boost testosterone to a biologically significant degree.
All right. No, that's good to know, man. Because my research has been pretty similar. Like, not even like maca, or like people are saying maca may do it, or I've heard the aspartame, but I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like a dead end to me, man. Unless you're going to just go ahead and boom, start injecting testosterone.
Yeah. The best thing to do is just sleep more. That has benefit, right? Or no?
I think that it's a combination of a lot of different things. Just keeping the stress level, psychological stress low, or at least manageable. And just not constantly dieting hard all the time. I don't know. There's a ton of variables wrapped into that. The lowering of testosterone, there are certain variables that are kind of out of your control as far as that goes. I've got this noise happening out here. Hold on. Let me see if I can close this window.
No problem. This is not even important, so just go ahead and do your thing.
Oh, okay. Well, someone's mowing the lawn out there. Can you hear the noise?
No, you're good. No, I didn't hear that, man. But I think it sounds kind of funny on this one. I don't know what's going on, but we'll be all right.
Okay.
Is this okay? So, damn. Here's a question. Yeah, it's like I heard. Now, correct me about this. That after you get past levels of about 600 or something like that, it's really you won't notice a body composition or a performance, any changes into something crazy like 12,000, way higher, super above normal, right? Is that true?
Yeah, it is true, as far as we know, because the research showing substantial effects on lean body mass gains, muscle gains, etc. from testosterone. They literally double and triple the normal base levels of folks who are not taking testosterone exogenously. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you just sort of pushing towards the upper physiological range, it's not going to have the same effect as what taking super physiological dosing is going to do. I mean, there are guys who walk around with low testosterone who can still build muscle, still lose fat and all of that stuff. So the relationship of higher testosterone in the range, the physiological range, not pharmacological,
right,
and body composition is really unreliable. I mean, there's some super jacked dudes, man, 300 and 400.
Really?
So, yeah. So, but there could be things related to mood and testosterone at the higher end of the normal ranges. So, I mean, there could be something there. But as far as body composition goes and bodybuilding and physique type goals go, yeah, I don't think it's reliable.
So even trying to optimize your testosterone worthless. Is a worthless endeavor?
If you're bottoming out at the low ends and you have run out of all your options of figuring out, what's wrong with me and all that stuff, that may be something possibly to look into. But if somebody's around, 500-600 or something, I don't think going up to the 12-ish hundred is going to make a whole hell of a lot of difference.
I'm sorry.
it's sort of a matter of scale, and it's also a judgment call too, because it's so hard to study these effects, you know, because you can't necessarily ethically take a group of people and run their testosterone down to the ground for a long period of time and let's see what happens here with this or that. So it's a tough thing to study. So I don't know how good or consistent the data is going to be in this area. So
okay. Let me ask you about intermittent fasting. I've been a pretty big proponent of it, but but I always say I don't know if it's helping me cut when I cut because it's anything special about it, or if it's just basic caloric deficit. It's just an easy way to stay in a caloric deficit. I don't know that it's better than just dieting, just regular dieting. You know, what's your take? Or do you know anything?
I think that intermittent fasting is the way that it's effective is that it makes it more simple to maintain the caloric deficit. So, and this is with some people, but not all. In other words, I don't think there's any special metabolic effects of eating in an intermittent fasting style. Okay. I think that you're just imposing a caloric deficit, and it's easier for some people to be able to do it that way.
So I speculate that I don't, because people got ripped doing 6 meals a day, man. Like, you know, back in the 90s, a lot of people got ripped doing that. So like,
absolutely.
I didn't think even some people do the 24-hour fast and you know, there's an ebook that's pretty popular and they speculate that it may increase growth hormone. Is there any? Have you come across any data to support that, or no?
Yeah. I mean, the growth hormone can go up, but it's essentially a starvation response. You know, it's doesn't have a net positive effect on muscle anabolism. You know, it's almost like if you were to if the power went out in a building and the emergency lights popped on. You know, that rise in GH from intermittent fasting is the equivalent of the emergency lights going on when you down the power of a building, you know. So it's just there's no possible way that not eating can have an anabolic effect. I mean, you can look at changes in hormones. You can look at transient fluctuations in this hormone or that, but the evidence is much stronger in the direction of maximizing the number of spikes in muscle protein synthesis, for example, in the course of a day. If you know, where over time those micro anabolic events can lead to macro anabolic events by expediting the rate of muscle mass gain. So yeah, I don't think there's any special metabolic effects of intermittent fasting. There's no way that intermittent fasting is actually more anabolic than a standard type of eating style. But you know what? It is a viable option for people who are trying to lose body fat. Because of its effect on energy balance. So.
And I noticed certain cognitive benefits. Is that placebo or is it doing something?
Nothing I've come across would suggest that there's some sort of superior effects on cognitive ability through intermittent fasting versus conventional type of eating. So I mean, if that research does exist, I definitely haven't seen it. So.
Yeah, man, placebo is a real thing. You know, like these things, you know, it's a real thing.
Are you IFing currently?
Oh yeah, not currently. I'm running an experiment where I'm doing a different kind of diet, but for the most part, I did it for the last 2 years. But I just feel like I was more productive when I didn't. If anything, it might have just been not eating. I mean, like not having to stop to eat. It's like I think the productivity enhancements come from just not having the interruptions of eating, and I could just power through my morning. And I think that's what, you know, I don't know if it's necessarily not eating food that's making me more productive.
Yeah, and you know what, man? I know a lot of people who maintain that kind of lifestyle, and I know a lot of people who have successfully done a cutting cycle using IF, and because it just simplifies everything.
Yeah, it's just simple.
Yeah, but if for guys who, if you were to take a guy and he is like, okay, I've got this $500,000 prize if I win this contest on who can put the most lean body mass on in the next 6 months, let's say, it's not gonna, you're not gonna want to IF them,
Yeah. No, I think it's inferior for building muscle, and I want to go on record. If I haven't said that before, I want to say that now. Now that you said it, because I want to align myself with you and your knowledge and expertise, so people associate me with a smart person. So I want to go on record saying that it's inferior for building muscle. But I built muscle on IF. It's just, but it was slow, and I was okay with it. I went into it knowing that I would gain less than a pound a month, and the attempt was to do it and stay lean and kind of see if I could do it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely possible to gain muscle on an IF style regime, but like you said, it's not optimal.
Yeah, it's inferior. I believe that, because I stopped doing it for a little while just to see, on my current bulking, and I just feel like I got bigger faster.
Yeah, there's just, that's just kind of the way it is, man. The bodybuilders with the Tupperware, 8 meals a day. That's probably the fastest way to build muscle.
Right, and that's because you're constantly in a state of protein synthesis, right?
You're just you're just not necessarily allowing your body to go through any dramatic catabolic cycles, so and of course there's another theory, or rather another hypothesis, that you can eat too frequently to the point where you're not giving the rise and fall in muscle protein synthesis, you're not allowing it to happen as optimally. So it gets really kind of weird towards that end of things. But again, I think that's just speculation. There's really no long-term research on that. Looking at, let's say, 3 versus 6 versus 12 meals a day, everything equated, on the effects of that on muscle gain. That's never been done yet. So, but then again, it runs into practical limitations. Who's seriously going to eat more than 6 to 8 times a day unless, so.
When I was in college, I made some gains. I remember it wasn't sustainable from a lifestyle perspective, but I made some gains waking up in the middle of the night and then eating down in some protein shake with maybe I think there's some milk with milk, protein shake with milk. So it's more like I made some gains doing that, right? But
check if it's that 10. It could be that 10.
Man, I don't know who that is. Listen, we're going to edit this out. I made some gains doing that, but it wasn't sustainable. Sorry.
It's all good, See, you're missing out on a hot date.
I know, I'm missing out on some gains. It's some lifestyle gains, but it wasn't sustainable. So, but I did make some progress. But I guess that's all circumstantial, right?
You know what, dude? If somebody, and I've thought about this before, if you are the type who can wake up, slam that protein shake in the middle of your sleeping cycle and go right back to sleep, you might be pushing extra gains. You might, but the problem with that is how much are you disturbing the quality of your sleep, and what kind of impact is that going to have on growth and recovery and stuff.
Exactly. That's why I had to stop, because I got used to that, and then I got to the point where I was just waking up, and then I was up, oh, I had to stop doing this because I've trained myself to get up with this stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a trade-off there.
The best is to get just the IV, just dripping whey protein into your bloodstream all night. Would that be optimal? Casein
and whey, man, just optimize.
Oh, casein, is that garb? I drink casein before I go to bed because it's it's slower digesting, and I said that publicly, and if that was wrong, please correct me. No,
it's still correct. I mean, there is research you can pull out and say, hey, take a look at this. Pre-bed casein had some positive effects. But that's pretty much going to be the case with any sort of slow digesting protein, like steak, for example. It's not necessarily casein that's in and of itself this kind of magic type of protein, but I don't see it as being a bad recommendation at all to get some slow digesting protein down in the final meal. What we don't know definitively is how well it would do against a fast digesting protein if all the conditions were matched, so because a lot of the research just stacks a scoop of casein at the end of the day and doesn't match the same amount of protein in the other conditions. So there's question marks there, but I don't think it's bad.
What about when you take your like, let's say, like, because I'm on this regimen now, I've been reluctant to tell people what it is because I haven't perfected it yet, nor do I know if it works. So what I'm doing is I want to, but it's like I'm taking multiple shakes throughout the day. But I'm trying to, would it be, if I'm doing something like that, would it be better to mix like a casein with a whey, right? That's what I'm thinking. So I get fast, immediate digestion and some slow digestion. So it's like a time release kind of thing. Is that crazy, or is that just some?
Dude, there is research supporting the superiority of a blend of proteins versus just.
No, continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please.
No, there is research, man, showing the superiority of a blend of proteins versus just a single type, like a single fast digesting type. Like there's some research showing a whey casein blend outperform just whey by itself. So you're not totally speculating in that, and I believe that soy could have been a part of the mix in that research as well. But no, there have been papers written on the building a case for a blend of proteins versus just a single type. So
yes, this is awesome.
so go on with your bad self.
Alan, I'd love to get you on. Like, I don't know if we touched on the stuff you wanted to touch on, because maybe this was self-indulgent. This was just like questions I wanted to know, but it was like, I don't know how, I don't get to talk to like legit experts all the time. So I mean, I do, like, I mean, not all the time. This is new, right? So I kind of just asked stuff that I wanted to know. But was there any topics that maybe you want to talk about that I didn't touch on?
Wow. Gosh, you know what, man? I think that we killed it. The only thing that's left to talk about is I don't know, more stuff about like erections and things.
Oh no, okay. Are there any supplements that help? Any supplements over the counter that really do help with like libido and or erections? I'm just that, not for me, but I have a friend who might be curious.
Oh, dude. Just lower the stress levels in your life, man. Man. It's the psychological stress that I think that really gets dudes,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was totally kidding about that. The erection stuff.
Oh, I thought you wanted to talk about erections for like a half an hour. I'm sorry, Alan. We just met. I thought maybe you wanted to talk about erections for a half hour. I was like, all right, whatever. I'll be a good host.
Oh man. No,
I know you California guys are,
I know, porn capital of the world here. So yeah, no, we're good. I just, I want people to just be skeptical of stuff that they hear. Be skeptical of products that people are trying to sell them, and I think that as long as you just get the fundamentals down, then all the rest is just fluff or icing on the cake and stuff. So there's just the basics, just keep the basics going on a long-term basis, and that's the important part. The rest is just, we can hypothesize over this or that, but the effects of that are just real small if they exist at all. So
sounds good, man. Sounds good. All right, listen, kids, do you have any websites or any social media, anything that you would like people to get in touch with you if you want that? Some people don't like social media. I don't know if you're in that camp, or any websites.
I'm most active. I do have a Twitter, which I'm very I'm bad at Twitter. Facebook is where I'm most active. So, you know, you can just Google that. And my website is alanaragon.com. And that's where you can find all my stuff. And so, so yeah, I've got a book that came out last December. I wrote the book with Lou Schuler. And I have a book that I wrote, like, you know, ice ages ago, that's still available. Still a good book. And I've got a research review, like a monthly type of technical journal for folks who really like to get deep into the weeds with the research and stuff. And so that all that stuff can be found on my website. And oh, shout out to Paul Carter's mom. That's an inside joke, but I had to get it out.
All right. Paul Carter, no relation.
Paul, no relation. Yeah, he's not related to you. He's a jacked dude. He's a big dude.
So he might be related to me.
Might be related.
Yeah, more likely.
Just want to give a shout out to his mom. That's all.
All right, sounds good, man. Sounds good. All right, man. Yo, it's been great having you. I'd like to get you on this, like every now and then, and we can just talk supplements and nutrition, man. Like you know, you seem like you're a good resource to tap every once in a while.
I appreciate that, Brandon.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. All right. See you later.
All right, man. Take care.